We also are grateful that there was no loss of life or significant injuries, and are happy to report that we are working through the process together with other public safety partners in the area.
At this time, we'll bring to the podium our Public Works Director. As you've noticed, our facility was impacted by the floods. Potentially all of our many of our fleet vehicles were damaged. So our Public Works Director, Mr. Kevin Berger, will come to the mic and tell us about our Public Works facilities.
Afternoon. It's been a long night, long day since yesterday morning when decision was made based on past history of our facility and flooding to relocate some vehicles from the lower yard up above where we've traditionally had no problem. That forecast came through Orange County, and then around 7 p.m. we got some calls for street closure requirements, and when staff reported to Public Works to get the barriers needed, they noted that the facility was flooding, but it was flooding quicker than previously seen. So folks were called in to try to relocate all the vehicles to the higher ground. Unfortunately, the water was coming in so quickly, a decision had to be made relative to life safety over the safety of the equipment, and so the staff decided to abandon efforts to get everything to the higher end of the facility and relocate outside the facility. I'm grateful that choice was made. Previously, I think the highest event ever had about 1 inch of water in the bays behind me. This event, we had 3.5 feet of water in the entire building. And so at this point, 5 of our 7 solid waste vehicles are out of service. Much of our equipment is out of service. And we're working with our partners, Orange County, and Will and his group have put out requests, and we think we'll be able to return to service tomorrow with all our solid waste, and some of our other services like mowing around town facilities will take a little longer as we try to find the resources we're going to need to do those type of services for our community. And just thankful for our entire Public Works team. They all showed up ready to work hard today and get our building cleaned out so we can get back to providing services to the community.
As Keith stated, we will continue to assess the damage of property for our building, our fleet vehicles, and we will look internally at how we would fund resources to be able to replace and recoup and rebound from this tragic, devastating destruction to our town facility. At this time, I'll have our police chief come forward to talk a little bit about what you all have seen. Many of our police vehicles have been destroyed and what the impact would be to our services.
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Chris Atak. I'm the police chief here in Carrboro. So yes, yesterday evening was historic. I've been here for over 26 years and I have not seen water this high at this facility. This is indeed an unusual event, both in terms of the impact as well as the pace at which things changed, at which the water rose and situations were in flux. So yesterday evening, our department, along with our public safety partners in the fire department, EMS, and other public safety providers, had additional staff in and were involved in water rescues and limiting and mitigating hazards related to rising waters and other infrastructure damage, as well as responding to calls for service. So as you see, as you walk around this yard, you see a lot of police cars that are probably destroyed. So the question is, has that affected us operationally? The answer is no. We've leaned on our local law enforcement agencies, the Orange County Sheriff's Office and the Chapel Hill Police Department. So we have been able to, in the short term, fill that gap from an operational perspective so that people should not notice a difference in function of the police department. So as always, we would encourage folks to reach out, call 911 or Orange County Communications non-emergency number if they're in need of assistance. So thank you. We appreciate that partnership with everyone.
I just want to thank one more time our public safety staff, our officials, our emergency management operations services, for just being first responders, for the work that they do, for being organized, having us prepared. And as prepared as we are, still a storm as strong as Tropical Storm Chantel still devastated our community. And so we are actively going to continue to do the work to make sure our community is made whole and we're prepared for future storms of this magnitude. And so I just wanted to say thank you to this great team. And at this time, if you all have any questions, we'll be glad to answer those questions.
And those solid waste trucks, did the water get into the engine blocks or not?
So we believe 5 of the 7 trucks that we own solid waste wise, water did get into the blocks. We had started to relocate the one up here. We believe that one stayed out of the water. We also had one other vehicle that was out for service at a different facility, and so that wasn't here. But the other vehicles down in the lower yard did get engine water in the engine block.
So when we're talking about water in the engine block, we're talking about we're not going to salvage that vehicle.
We need to do a little research and talk to some folks. It's highly unlikely that those are going to be salvaged.
Talk about water coming into this building, just for context. What is typically kept here? Is it the garbage trucks? Or
So this is our fleet shop. This is where we repair all the vehicles owned by the town of Carrboro. And so that's where police vehicles, that's why some of them are stored down here for service. They're serviced in here. The fire trucks are serviced here. All our public works vehicles are serviced here. Everything owned by the town of Carrboro is serviced out of this shop. Like I said earlier, in the past, the highest amount of water they've ever seen is 1 inch. When I arrived last evening at about 10 o'clock, water was to the windows. Everybody, I had 30-year employees that had worked for Carrboro and said, oh my God, like, what just happened here? So we're all a little bit in shock, but great team. Everybody pulled together today. And as you can see, we've already started cleaning out and rebounding.
this might be a question for you, town manager Tony. I know that the budget just passed, so financially, some plenty of work to do. How much? I believe some of the budget was trying to go toward trying to get some new vehicles. Is there any sort of overlap in terms of what gets lost and what was already planning to be replaced? Anything along those lines you can share?
That's a great question. We passed a very conservative budget this year. Obviously, we were in a property tax revaluation and wanted to reduce the burden on property tax homeowners in this particular budget. We did have a little opportunity for some replacement vehicles. One of our pillars of the town is our environmental sustainability goals. And so for that reason, we have some sustainability resources, which we definitely can realign to have a more focus on our public works vehicles, because that is obviously a priority. This is a good opportunity also to just look at more environmentally friendly vehicles. We never want this type of tragedy to happen of sorts, but it does give us an opportunity when we look at replacement to replace in a way that's environmentally sustainable for our community.
I feel like the natural follow-up question is probably hard, but is there a number yet in terms of amount of damage that is expected? Any sort of estimates that you can share so far?
We're still assessing the damage and the dollar amount. We don't want to throw out a figure quite yet. We know it's going to be substantial because the building itself has also been essentially destroyed. We need to replace locate our employees to another facility. We're going to do a full assessment, and so we will need to look at what we've currently budgeted, what our council has approved, and maybe tighten our belt in other areas so that we can definitely make public works whole again as we go into this next fiscal year.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Do you need did you get some footage out here? Is it a story that tells itself? Okay.
Thank you, guys.
And I was like, I was the red for that.